Attorney General and candidate for Governor Maura Healey is our guest this morning. Let's go on the record. A race once in search of a marquee candidate now has one. Can she top the field and become the first woman elected to the state's highest office? The candidate is here this morning. Let's go on the record.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Welcome to OTR on this final Sunday in January. I'm Ed Harding, along with News Center 5's political reporter Jenny Wu. Great to have you with us. Progress this week in the fight against Omicron cases, down significantly. But we do continue to social distance, hoping that the trend continues. The Attorney General Maura Healey joins us here in studio seat. As you can see, the social distancing applies here. She took office as the state's chief law enforcement officer back in 2015, and she is now running for governor. So it's great to see you. Thank you so much. Great to have you with us this morning.
Thank you for joining us in the studio, Attorney General. You've launched your campaign telling voters that you want to fix what's gone desperately wrong, especially during the pandemic. But your Democratic opponents want to change sort of the entire landscape. Do you think that's a fair assessment on where this campaign starts?
You know, I think where this campaign starts is by my doing what I did when I ran for Attorney General. It's to get out, to visit with people all over the state, to listen to them, to learn from them, and to offer a vision for how we move forward. I can tell you right now, Janet, that what I feel and sense from people that I speak with all around the state, and of course I've had the privilege over the last 7 years of working all over the state, getting to know our cities and towns, getting to know the people in our regions so well. Right now people are hurting. You know, what we need to do coming through COVID is to get this economy back on track. There's a lot of fear out there. There's a lot of concern about the quality of life, particularly as we've seen the cost of living just really skyrocket in recent months. And so, you know, for me, it's going to be getting out there, listening to people, offering what I know should be hope for the future. If there's something, anything that I have learned in my time as Attorney General, is that I believe in the people of Massachusetts. I believe in this state. We've been through a lot, but we've got a lot of great opportunity ahead, and I intend to campaign with that vision.
You sound like you are talking more about bread and butter issues. Is that what distinguishes you from your other Democratic opponents?
Well, I'll just say I think that's what's important to voters around this state. I mean, workforce development, childcare, housing prices, the cost of living just generally. These are the things that people care about. They're the things that people talk to my office about. And there are things that the governor, the next governor, is going to have to deal with. We've got a few things happening here that are to our benefit. We've got a lot of money coming in. One of the questions will be, how can that money be used, distributed, invested in ways that support an economy where everyone can thrive, where everyone can grow? But absolutely, just as I was the people's lawyer, I am focused on the needs of residents all across the state in every region, and I'm going to continue as governor to find ways to make life better for them and for their families.
So two parts to this next question. So given all of that and given what you said, is it fair to say that you've chosen to highlight jobs in the economy as kind of a center part of your message?
Well, I think that's got to be the center part of what the next governor needs to do. I mean, if we can't get the economy back on track, if we can't deal with a high cost of living, if we can't deal with housing, we're not going to be where we need to be. We also need to deal with childcare, which right now is a barrier that's keeping so many women from returning to the workforce. So all of these things are incredibly important. So is addressing climate. And I have said that as governor, I will be the most aggressive governor in the country when it comes to combating the climate crisis. I'm also, Ed, remember, not going to change who I am. You know, I began my career as a civil rights lawyer. I put an equity lens on everything that we do across the Attorney General's office, and I will do that as governor. So I'm going to continue to stand for fairness. I'm not going to be afraid to stand up to powerful interests. And fundamentally, I will be guided by the principle that your job in government is to work to serve people that you're elected to represent. And you know, I have to tell you, I'm really excited to be out there talking to people, to be campaigning, and I hope to do everything I can to earn their support over the coming months.
So with jobs and economy so prevalent in your focus and in your concern, is it a signal to independents that you're not a Michelle Wu, Ayanna Pressley, or Elizabeth Warren, that you're more Healey, you know?
Well, I mean, for better or worse, I am Maura Healey. I happen to have a lot of regard for the three women that you just mentioned. But I think during my time as Attorney General, you know, I have been on the front lines fighting for consumers, fighting for workers, fighting for fairness in the marketplace. I've also had the opportunity to collaborate and partner with the business community on a number of fronts, whether it's been student loan debt or other issues. And so, you know, I think there's a real opportunity, Ed. You know me, I'm a basketball player and a point guard. And my job is to really drive a team. I love that. And again, I see endless possibility and capacity in this state. I believe in our people. And I believe that coming together, we can go forward and do great things. And that's what my campaign is going to be about. It's going to be about, just as I've done in the Attorney General's office, making things happen, delivering results that are meaningful and that touch the lives of residents and communities around our state. I'm not going to change the formula. It's a different job, and I recognize that. But the formula about meeting people where they are, about listening, about learning, and about helping remains the same.
Let's talk about that job and the man that you're hoping to succeed. Governor Baker this past week proposed $700 million in tax cuts aimed primarily at low-income families, renters, and seniors. Good idea. Would you sign this bill?
Well, we haven't seen the bill yet, and so we've got to see what the governor says. We've got to see what's there in terms of language. Obviously, tax policy, a really important issue and one I'm going to give careful consideration to.
But with all the money that's coming into the state right now, do you think the state can afford tax cuts in general?
I think it's too soon for me to say. I want to look at the language. I want to understand more behind the proposal. I want to talk to others, as I always do when I evaluate things and make policy decisions. It's certainly helpful that we've got money coming in. I also want to know more about plans to, right now, deploy and invest that money, and then think long-term about what's going to be left to invest on behalf of our economy and really on behalf of, you know, this idea, Janet, that Massachusetts is a great place to live. It is a great place to live if you can afford it. And right now, too many are feeling the hurt right now and feeling the squeeze. And so I think the job as governor, among other things, is to really make sure that we are promoting an economy where everyone can thrive. And I think that's possible in talking with both business leaders and in talking with a range of stakeholders and residents around the state and community leaders. I really believe that is possible.
Governor,
I am privileged that we live in the greatest state in the country. And now coming through COVID, where we've been through so much, we've seen the resilience, we've seen the spirit. Now is really our time to take it to the next level, to lead and to do things in new and innovative ways that are going to make a meaningful difference in improving the lives and well-being of people around this state.
Governor Baker also wants to push through an aggressive transportation proposal to take advantage of the federal money from the new infrastructure bill. No details yet, but if you were sitting in the corner office at the governor's chair right now, what would be at the top of your list of projects across the state?
Well, I think so many. I mean, it's not like one specifically, but we have got to do everything we can to invest in transportation, invest in housing. These things are fundamental to a healthy economy and a way of life. We also need to lead on climate change. And as I say, this will be a key issue for me. There will be no governor more aggressive on climate than me as your governor.